Hey guys, welcome back to MFO. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. At the end of last week, news came out that the pretty well-known Gunnersville Open, they've got a couple of these events, one that they do around the holidays, one they do, well, Thanksgiving, and then on, I think, New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. They're not doing them anymore. And this has been a long-standing kind of traditional tournament that they've done on Gunnersville. And the reason that they cited for no longer doing these tournaments is the accident that happened on Smith Lake that I was at. And I'm wondering, and I've talked to a couple of tournament directors about whether this isn't really the beginning of the end of tournament fishing. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher. I have talked to a couple of tournament directors that run local tournaments in the Midwest here, in the Illinois, Wisconsin area. And this has been a very hot topic and will continue to be as the results of this Smith Lake accident, tragedy. I know people don't like to use the term accident because of the way that this happened, but as these consequences get brought out and what we see actually happen with result of the trials, I think that this is going to have a huge impact on tournament bass fishing. I can tell you right now that these two tournament directors that I spoke with are looking at it from a standpoint of, whoa, wait a minute. The insurance that we carry right now, we're questioning whether they're going to continue to carry us in the future. Or in one circumstance, there wasn't insurance, and that tournament director was looking at it like, there's no way I'm going to be the one who gets named if somebody goes out and gets in an accident while fishing my circuit. In one of these situations, the reality, and we've seen it with this situation that happened in Alabama, the boat driver was named, but also Major League Fishing was, even Boyd Duckett was, along with even the charter boat captain who was one of the victims in this situation. All of these people are being sued, having claims of liability brought against them. Well, if you're running a little local tournament off of, say, Lake Geneva or something like that, and there's an accident, you're very likely to get named as being partially liable for that. And so here you are just kind of running something where you want a bunch of buddies to get together and have fun on a Saturday, and all of a sudden you're going to lose your house. Well, those things aren't going to continue to happen. Now, my question is, what about the bigger organizations? Because what we're already seeing huge entry fees for dwindling payouts. And when these entry fees have to compensate insurance companies who are charging extraordinary amounts to cover an event, I'm wondering whether or not that's just going to make tournaments in general become really not feasible in any way, shape, or form. And the reality is that tournaments can take stances. They can do things like, hey, we're going to limit speed. Hey, we're going to require boaters to have boater safety. We're going to do all these things to make them safer. But there isn't anything that anyone can do to stop an accident from happening. And so the insurance company is still going to look at it and say, even if you do these things to make your organizations safer than they were before, we're still going to have to charge this amount of money, because when an accident like this happens, the lawsuits come out and somebody is going to pay. And it's always going to be where the deep pockets are. We know that. The individual angler doesn't have as much as the organization or the owner of the organization or whatever. And the reality is all three of them together is a deeper pocket than just any one. And so I just question whether or not tournaments will continue to go. I think that's something that is coming down the road, and we're going to need to pay very close attention to the results of the lawsuits that are involved over this incident that occurred on Smith Lake. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are. And I can kind of, I think that there are a lot of people who are going to say good riddance. Tournament anglers, tournament organizations, they shouldn't exist. There may be quite a few people who feel that way. I'm not one of them, but I do feel like, even if organizations attempt to do things that put restrictions on their anglers, I don't know that we can ever, fish in a bubble to where there isn't any chance of injury going on. I'm also curious as to, as I was thinking about this topic, what do other sports do? Granted, a golfer, the odds of somebody getting killed on a golf course are small, but my guess is it's happened. It certainly happens in NASCAR. Does it happen in baseball or hockey or football? All of those sports probably have had situations where people have died as a result of being in the sport. And they may have had incidents in which a fan or a spectator or somebody who was there also got injured or died. Those insurance risks, those liability risks have to be there. The problem is that I think that those are sports that have much greater pockets to be able to afford the additional costs that go around to insurance. I don't think fishing was ever a sport that could include as one of their line items. They might be able to, hey, we have to hire a tournament director. We have to buy a trailer. We have to buy the equipment. But then to have on top of that a very large liability policy, I question that. And again, guys, I don't have for all I know, Major League Fishing has a gigantic liability policy already. And that may be so, but I don't know that these smaller tournament organizations do. And they become wrapped up in this as well. Love to hear your opinions on this, guys. I 100% am going to be paying attention to this because I don't think that we're going to come out completely unscathed as a sport and as an industry in this situation. Thank you for listening. And again, send in your comments, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you again tomorrow on another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.